So thank you very much for being back here in Columbia. 70 years ago, you came to this city for the meeting of the Southern Negro Youth Congress. What was that organization in the 1930s and 40s?
Well, the first meeting of the Southern Negro Youth Congress I attended was in New Orleans, Louisiana. And that was in 1940, perhaps 39 or 40. And I went because I was at that time active in the youth movement, and they invited us down to see how the people in the North, organized people in the North, could help with the liberation of the South, especially working with young people. And I became very much interested in the Southern Negro Youth Congress at that time. And it was in 1941 when I got married Louis, because he was asked to come down to be one of the secretaries, one of the organizers of the Southern Negro Youth Congress after the Southern Negro Youth Congress moved to Birmingham, Alabama. And that's how I got involved, because my husband was asked to come down and speak and be the organizer.
And at one point, you had the title as being the education director?
Yes.
And what were your duties in that role?
Well, we organized meetings in Birmingham and around Birmingham with people, telling them about African American history, what was going on in the country at the time, and so forth. And I also went to a number of different places carrying the message of the Southern Negro Youth Congress, which was, of course, liberation.
Right.
Yes. And I remember going to Tuskegee University at one time, and I met Patterson, some of the teachers who were there, to talk about what was going on, what the aims of the Southern Negro Youth Congress were, and so forth. Yes.
Any idea why your husband and others selected Columbia as a destination in 46?
The only thing that I can remember is that we had a member of the Southern Negro Youth Congress, not a member, one of the advisory board members was in South Carolina. And I think it may have been Majeska Simpkins, and there's another woman whom
Annie Bell Weston.
Yes, both of whom were in touch with the Southern Negro Youth Congress and worked, with the adults who were working with the Southern Negro Youth Congress. And I think that's why we were invited, and why, after Louis and Esther, checked it out, it became the place for the meeting.
And it is, from your recollection, was it the largest of the gatherings?
Of the Southern Negro Youth Congress? Yes, as I remember, it was the largest one that I attended.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, any idea why that was? How was your husband so successful in recruiting so many young people to come here?
I'm looking at it, and I know that he spent months and months and months traveling around, speaking at different universities and speaking to young people all over the South. We had at that time a very good advisory board, a number of whom were college presidents or, active in the administration of some of the colleges, so that Louis and Esther were able to get speaking engagements at these places and talk to the young people around to get them involved and, in attending conferences.
Was it difficult to...
Okay.
All set? Was it difficult to convince high school and college students to join the movement?
It was difficult in that, we'd, Louis or Esther would be traveling. I didn't do much traveling. I was mainly stayed in the office in Birmingham. It was difficult in that we went to many places where we didn't have leaders. There were some areas of the South where there were leaders and people who were actively involved every day. And there were other places, of course, where, you know, Louis would travel or Esther would travel, where you just had to get the crowd together and by yourself.
Now, here we are now in 2016. What does it mean to you to now, 70 years later, to come back to Columbia for this symposium?
You know, looking around and thinking about it, and I really can't remember being in such a large auditorium. You know, I don't remember. I remember Du Bois's speech and, of course, Paul Robeson's speech. I remember them, you know, being on the stage and how they were welcomed by the whole, by the community. And but outside of that, and I remember meeting with a number of the youth, you know, from other parts of the country, youth leaders who were working with the Southern Negro Youth Congress. But it's, I certainly don't remember this large an auditorium.
It's my understanding that for that occasion, the SNCC organizers were able to bring young student activists from around the world to Columbia for that meeting. Was that the case? Was it an international gathering?
I don't remember. I can't say. I do remember the white students, but I don't remember, you know, actually where all of them came from. And I really can't remember any international people coming.
You had mentioned the Du Bois's Behold the Land address. What made that such an impactful speech?
Well, first of all, Dr. Du Bois knew how to deliver speeches. And because in a sense it was original, you know, it was a very, very moving, very well written speech. And he was able to talk. He was a really good, you know,
Orator, yes.
professional orator.
Right.
He was exceptional, yes. And then at the time when we met Paul, he was, you know, going through some problems because of his political, his politics and his career. But he also was very supportive of the Southern Negro Youth Congress in many ways.
Do you want to give a little bit, just, I think you should just get her name.
Yeah, very, very briefly. So we just tell us your full name.
It's Dorothy Burnham,
And what is your date of birth?
March 22nd, 1915.
And you were born where?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My parents were from Barbados, and both my parents were dedicated to having their children finish college. And at that time, Brooklyn College was a free university. It was part of the city university. I would not have been able to go to college if there hadn't been that. And that's why I'm still fighting for, and agree very much with Hillary about what she says about the college education.
Now, 20 years after the meeting here in Columbia, there's more movements among student activists in the civil rights movement.
Yes.
Do you see a direct connection between the Southern Negro Youth Congress and what emerged in the 1960s among students?
Yes, I do, because it was when I was in Brooklyn College that I met two professors who were very active in the movement for freedom movement. And they influenced me, and I met many, at that time there were many youth at Brooklyn College who were active in youth movements, and that's how I got into the movement. And I see the importance of reaching young people at all the schools, and those who are not in school, many are not, in reaching them. And I think that, you know, the country really depends on what we're telling the young people and teaching them.
Thank you. All right, thanks very much.
Okay.